artist, filmmaker, artist. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I mean, it really doesn't matter. A visionary.
Visionary.
I'm doing an a big environment on the border of Mexico right
Yeah, I know.
I'm doing sculptures. I've never studied sculpture
Yeah.
or made a sculpture, and I'm doing a whole bunch,
Well,
which is really weird. So I like it in a way better than filmmaking because it's so tangible, and it's just a different process than films. Filmmaking's really cerebral. It's tough. And I've got the Burning Man movie, which is just so big, I can't even fathom how to do it.
Right. Yeah.
I've been filming for 32 years.
Yeah. Here, we'll do an intro and then we'll jump in because all this is stuff I want to get into for sure. You know, time permitting.
Okay.
But so we'll look at this one. Hello and welcome to MovieTown, the revival cinema scene show. We are in Dallas at the Texas Theater, and I am joined by filmmaker and artist Harrod Blank. Harrod, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and so, you know, of course, we're here at this theater today because it's the 10th anniversary of kind of the re-release, remaster of A Poem is a Naked Person, your dad Les Blank's film from the early 70s that kind of had a very long life till its initial release. And I'm just interested to hear, you know, because you were really spearheading that getting out to the world back in, 2013 to 2015 or whenever it was. What is it like to kind of revisit that with an audience 10 years later?
It's kind of weird, and I'm actually in the middle of trying to figure this out right now. It is weird how much 10 years changes your perception.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's interesting about this whole project is that Leon Russell's perception of the movie when it first came out was one thing, and it's something that he didn't want to release. And then so many years later, when we revisited it and we restored it, he's looking back at time. And so time has a weird thing about, it just changes your perspective of things. And so now 10 years later, I feel like this movie is going to stand the test of time, and it's going to live on after my part in this. I'm just a small part in it. I didn't make the movie, but for my father, it was his masterpiece.
Right.
And he never got to release it as such.
Right.
And Leon wouldn't budge.
Yeah.
And both men were so stubborn in their beliefs about this movie that it would never come to pass to be released. So in a way, it was a healing between Leon and my father. And even though my father was dead, it still was a healing for basically his legacy.
Yeah.
And for Leon, it was really healing. And I think that time is a character.
Yeah.
Like time, and we don't realize that the importance of time, because when we're younger, we think we're going to live forever. And it's not till you're older and you look in the rearview mirror that you realize, oh my God, that was actually special.
Yeah.
I should have released that movie back then. I was too into what I thought the movie should be. And I'm very interested in the concept of time. Everything that I do is long game.
Right.
Very long game. I'm talking 20, 30 years.
Yeah. Well,
Burning
I'm
Man.
Interested even, it was a conversation you had with Leon for the Criterion release of the film in I assume it was shot around 2015.
Yeah.
Where you said something that really reminded me of some of your own work when you asked him what it was like, being in front of the camera as a documentary subject and then and then seeing the version outside of that. And he had this quote of like, well, I thought I was James Dean, and then it turned out I'm Jimmy Dean. And then, he needed these 40 years to really
let go.
Yeah, let go. But it made me think about, you've featured like in your own documentaries, like in sort of not a central way, but in Wild Wheels and Automorphosis even more, you're there to kind of intro the idea and to close it. But those films are really more looking at the art car people that you're out discovering around the US. But then oh my God, it's Harrod Blank. You're the subject of this really long running documentary. And I wonder what that is like for you to look back at.
Okay, that's a great question. And yeah, because I was a subject as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had issues with that film when David, the filmmaker, David Soderbergh, showed it to me. I was like, oh my God, I'm not that morose, and I'm not, that's not really me in some way. So I had to let it go really fast.
Yeah.
It was what David was working with, and I respected that, and I let go quickly. But I could see where it would have bothered Leon when he thought that he was going to get a certain type of film, and it didn't come out to be about Leon per se.
Yeah.
It was more about the periphery of Leon's world, which was also very interesting. And the fact that he was in this periphery and connected all these dots was amazing, beautiful. It's just like Leon's world.
Well, and I mean, it's going to be the reason why, like you alluded to, it's going to stand the test of time because of, Les doing that with this world, and it not just being a studio doc of this musician. It really becomes something, that's not just a music doc.
I guess what I would say is, okay, so the movie didn't represent who I think I am.
Yeah.
Okay, but it did represent parts of me that were accurate.
Yeah.
So I just have to let it go.
Right.
And so there's something about it that, would you rather a movie not be made at all about your life? Like Leon, would he rather, he could look back now, before he died, he could look back at it and think, wow, I was really a handsome young man, super talented, super charismatic. It's a beautiful thing. It's his gift. And so, I don't know, I could see both sides of it, but I think it's actually really amazing. If you're the subject of a documentary, it's pretty amazing. It's an amazing testament to who you are, because somebody, the filmmaker and team, had to spend all this time and money portraying you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a gift. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And with A Poem as a Naked Person, do you remember when you first saw the feature version of it? Did you see it?
Oh, when I was a kid.
When you were a kid.
When I was a kid, I saw it.
Just like at home, like your dad showed it to you? Or was
he showed it periodically, maybe once every 5 years, and he would show it. He could show it at libraries, in institutions only, and no advertising.
Right.
So they were very, very seldom seen film. It's a seldom seen film, but I remember it as a kid, and I remember how beautiful it was, like the sunsets and the things that actually Leon didn't like about it was the periphery, the sunsets, the snake, all that stuff. He just didn't understand it at the time. He's like, what is this doing in my movie?
Yeah.
So, in fact, when we went on tour together, we went to 5 US cities and showed that film. And Jan, his wife, would walk out the theater every time when the snake scene was coming on. She couldn't stand the snake scene. And Leon begged me, please cut that out of the movie before you release it. I said, Leon, you're asking me to take out a central theme of the movie that Les intended, that's about power, and it's important. We can't just cut it out. I said, I know you don't like it, but it means something. Les was actually making a critical statement about fame and being a rock star. And that's part of the theme of the movie. And it's relative to today. It's relative to, rock stars nowadays. I mean, it's a thing. It's this huge pyramid of rush to success, and then it can all come crashing down in a moment. And I don't. It's power. It's like the in the church scene, and power. You gotta have the power. That's why that's in the movie, I think.
I know, and I, it's the same when it's like that intercutting between, which feels like a very random thing, the building being imploded, or coming down to people going around for scraps, and then Leon signing these scraps of tickets, like mementos. I mean, I think that stuff plays really well, like, from that remove. And
You know, some people don't get that.
yeah,
They look at it and they go, "What kind of a movie is this?" It doesn't even have a thread. Like
right.
they can't see that because you have to let go of the traditional concept of what a documentary should be. You have to let go when you watch that movie and
Yeah.
just let it come at you. And then maybe later you'll realize, "Oh, wait a minute, the building imploding is similar to the snake eating the chick." It kind of all adds up, and this whole thing about power and how fragile it is,
Yeah.
which is interesting because that actually, I think, backfired on Les because when Leon saw that, he didn't understand. He was a
Right.
rock
He thought
star.
he was being undercut to a
Yes,
degree. Yeah.
he felt that it was attack on his character.
Yeah.
But really, it's just a statement of what it's like to be a rock star.
Yeah.
And he really was hot. I remember in 1974, he was the biggest thing going, at least in my world. I didn't know too many other musicians that were that big.
Right.
He was huge.
Yeah.
And Shelter Records had incredible musicians. They had Bob Marley, Tom Petty, J.J. Cale. It just went on and on and on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's
it was
pretty incredible, like, capsule time that he found himself in there. One thing I want to, when we're talking about time, I look a lot at, the reason I started this show is just, I think the movie going experience is still so interesting and kind of is maligned a lot in a lot of ways. And certainly I'm very lucky to be in LA where there's so many kind of interesting cinema communities happening there. But I'm curious, because the David Silberling's,
Silverberg.
Silverberg, oh my God, it's Harrod Blank, covers a lot when you first took out your first film, Wild Wheels, on the road, kind of to theaters. And then you've recently got to do that, 10 years ago with The Poem of the Naked Person, the restoration of Burden of Dreams. Like, I wonder, do you see any line through that of like this, movie theater hopping experience?
Well, it's fun when there's people in the seats.
Yeah.
And when the people are actually moved and they care, it really is fun because there's a symbiotic relationship between the film as a work of art that inspires people and the audience. So as long as there's this relationship going, it feels great to be a part of it. But when there's no one in the seats and
Yeah.
you're going from city to city, you're just like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And the whole thing about cinema and theatrical right now, it's taken such a hit since COVID. I mean, it's almost like you have to beg people or pay them to be in the seats
Yeah.
to some extent, So I'm a little bit leery of the situation right now, but I think what has to happen is that it becomes more of a one-off experience, that the theatrical experience is an experience.
Yeah.
And so you go in and you have the film and ideally maybe a performance by someone in the film, or somehow it's interconnected and it becomes a very special, one-of-a-kind event. And I think those are really amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the future of this independent theatrical, these venues.
Right.
I don't know. It's like when Leon Russell in what was it, Salem? No, not Salem. It was Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The movie played, full house, it was about the size of this. The movie played and the credits came up and then the screen comes up to reveal Leon and his band.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
performed.
That's a very special.
I swear to God, 90% of that audience was crying.
Yeah.
90%. Because, like I said, the movie was healing. So when you're watching the movie about the star
Yeah.
and he let this go, and then he's on stage, it's the same man, and now he's going to perform for you a song for you.
Yeah.
The tears, I could not believe it. And that was the only time we got to do that. We were booked
Yeah.
to go to Amsterdam to do the same thing, and he had the heart issue,
Yeah.
and that was it. We couldn't do we were gonna do a European tour.
Oh, wow.
So I think that's the kind of thing that really will make these theatrical one-off experiences work better, I think. Like when we had Werner Herzog in person at the Academy Theater with Burden of Dreams, and we had this big Q&A,
Yeah.
and Werner he just asked me some really tough questions that he would have wanted to ask my father
Yeah.
and put me on the spot
Yeah.
in front of 900 people.
Right.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And it was very inspirational for the audience because they got that star from the movie in person talking about it and adding to it. And it's amazing.
Yeah. And I'm curious, who was your friend that went on the road trip with you for Wild Wheels?
Kevin
Kevin.
Ratliff.
Yeah, I love those. I love those scenes in Wild Wheels of the two of you going in. Yeah, his continued thing of the brocumentary, like
Yes.
his like sort of just tried and true documentary joke. But when you guys were going around, driving around the country, were you taking a film print or was it a video? What
It was 16
it
millimeter
was
film.
60-minute film.
And we were booked, we did 50 US cities.
Yeah.
50. And we did it with the art car in person.
Yeah.
And every time we showed the movie, we would have as many art cars locally as we could round up and put them in front of the theater and the marquee.
Yeah.
And so the people that got to come to the theater got to see the movie, but they also got to see their local
Right.
celebrated art car artists there at that venue. And it was actually really cool. But you know what? We didn't have the budget to advertise to make that really work.
Yeah.
So we only get like a handful of people. But the people that did see it was pretty, like I said, it was that sort of experiential theatrical.
When was the last time that 16-millimeter print played?
Oh, long time ago.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah, I'd love to see it get it,
We could show it. I have
little run
prints.
somewhere. That'd be
I've got prints of
fantastic.
it if you wanna show
Yeah.
it.
No, I think it still holds, like, I think the energy that it captures, both of you at that specific time in your life and, meeting all these people for the first time, I assume most of them, there's a real energy and like place and time of that early 90s, late 80s kind of thing that I think is pretty special. So yeah, I would be, I've been, because I just discovered it recently since we were going to talk. And, you've got this kind of, from a filmmaker seeing this, I also wanted to ask you about, I mean, you have your own Criterion, collection,
Yeah.
meet Harrod Blank.
Yeah.
And like to get that, like, what does that mean for you as a filmmaker? Just that like people like me are gonna, come across the work and look at it in a very different way than, where the TV audience that might have watched it back in the day when it got a release.
It's pretty validating,
Yeah.
to be honest, to have Criterion take your work and put it out.
Yeah.
I had been working on that for 10 years with them, even before Les had died.
Okay.
So I was pitching Les's other films and my own movies and other films that Left Blank Films, what used to be Flower Films,
Yeah.
distributed. And it took about 10 years, and then finally they did release them. The audience is different. So I don't know, I'm not sure where this is going with the streaming thing, but it has changed the landscape. And I really like the way it used to be with the art films. They're really, really special. And I just think now it's just more difficult to get the kind of play that we used to. Like, for
Yeah.
example, when Wild Wheels was put on PBS as a national special, that means it was pretty much hard feed
Yeah.
throughout all the stations. 2.1 million people saw the movie.
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore unless
Right.
you get a Netflix deal or something like that. And it's very difficult to reach the numbers.
Right.
So I wonder what's going to happen with independent film
Yeah.
when we don't have that size of an audience being able to work with the piece,
Yeah.
So I'm wondering where it's going to go with streaming, and I'm hoping that Criterion Channel can keep rising and compete with Netflix, because Netflix has made it clear that they're not interested in any of our films.
Yeah.
You know, they only wanted Burden of Dreams, and Criterion already had it.
Yeah.
So it just, you know, where do you go? Where do you show these movies? And how do we get people to want to watch them? But then back to your point about Wild Wheels and the characters that it covered, this whole idea of diversity, of being independent seems to be waning. It
Yeah.
actually is worse than it was in the 90s. Like, it's harder to be yourself, I think, in a lot of ways than ever.
Right.
And it's just kind of a weird, like, where are the art cars? Okay, I can tell you that the trajectory of my life, looking in the rearview mirror now, of course I didn't know I was going to do what I'm doing now, but when we were making Wild Wheels and Automorphosis, and we were driving all over the country to film these different subjects and stopping at roadside attractions, that made it really exciting to do. The roadside attractions has actually increased,
Oh, really?
I think, over the years. So Roadside America and Atlas Obscura, you know, those apps, you get on those and they
Okay.
tell you the coolest stuff in the
Yeah.
city you're visiting.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I really related to it because I used to do those road trips kind of in the late 90s, in 2000s, and it was much more about you see a billboard
Yeah.
and then, oh, I'll go stop there. And then maybe I remember finding a book at some point that had all these little museums that were like attractions, but it was still kind of hard to find those places.
Yeah.
And there was just something about that element that, you know, I really liked. And then that so many of the cars incorporate almost like, I think of them as like, you know, Happy Meal toys or like Pez dispensers or like action figures, kind of this like detritus of youth, you know,
Yeah.
that people are still can't quite throw away and they find some way to use it. I found, you know, yeah, it made me long for that.
But see, I think that type of thing, the roadside attractions, has increased,
Yeah.
and there's more awareness to drive people to them. You can't see those online so much. It's better to go drive to them. So the road trip is still very pertinent. And in fact, there's a lot more people road tripping in RVs now, I think, than ever.
Okay.
It seems to me. So what the trajectory of my career has been: filming, documenting, public art, roadside attractions, art cars, Burning Man, and then becoming one of these people later in my life. So I'm making a monument right now
Right.
on the border of Mexico that's just gigantic, inspired by Kurosawa's Ikiru.
Oh, right.
I'm making a monument before I die,
Okay.
for people to enjoy,
Yeah.
and it's a gift. It's just really, that's what it is. It's a gift. And it feels good to be building a gift, right? And these environments and these places are actually gifts from the people that created them. And likely, like you said, okay, maybe it's Pez dispensers, and the whole thing is Pez World. And you go in there, and if you like Pez dispensers, you're going to be blown away because there they are. The collection or the passion. The passion is what I think it's really about.
Right.
So I don't think that's going away. The passion is still there.
Do you see it like one thing I feel like I don't see, and maybe my eye will be more attuned to it now, is I don't feel like I see just that like random art car person who like painted their own car, like decided, screw it, I'm gonna like paint my car in some weird way. That was much more prevalent, I feel like, certainly in the 90s and maybe 2000. Do you feel like that's true, or are you around it so much that it still feels really alive?
No, I think you're right. It was sort of like foreshadowing of the automobile industry and changing and going to EVs, et cetera. And I think at that time, in a way, doing the art car thing is actually destroying the car in some way.
Right.
It's tearing it down and making it something new, making it something very individualistic of the person that made it. And so that type of thing, I don't know what's going on with it right now, but there's less and less younger people doing it. I mean, it's a great way to get a message to the
Right.
community, public
I wonder
art.
if it I mean, because me, I feel like, you know, the parental figures standing above me of like, you're you're ruining the value of that car.
Yeah,
that it still has value,
exactly.
right? And that maybe, cars, I don't know if it's that they retain the value or it's, everybody thinks of it as this investment, and destroying its value feels very rebellious. Like,
Oh yeah, it really is super rebellious.
Yeah.
But how many art Teslas have you seen?
Yeah.
Not very many.
No.
And one of the reasons is because you're not really, you're not allowed to manipulate that Tesla yourself. You're supposed to
Right.
take it to a dealership and have it fixed. If you change it and the sensors don't work, I think they shut the car down.
Right. You can't, if something goes wrong, you can't fix
You
that.
can't fix it. And the cost to get in this game now,
Yeah.
you're like $35,000.
Right.
So the average person, who's going to spend $35,000 and then glue Pez's all over it?
Right.
I mean, it's just a different. I think it was evolution when the late 80s, 90s with cars and the clunkers. People still had VWs.
Right.
Like I did a VW.
Yeah, no, they definitely feel like clunkers.
It cost me $600.
Right.
And so yeah, if you're gonna make art out of a $600 object,
Yeah.
It makes it worth more. But
Yeah.
if you take a $35,000 Tesla and you paint shoes all over it, you're making it worth less.
Right.
Most likely.
And what do you think it is? Is it this individuality streak that has like literally followed you over, a really long period of time now, with the art cars, from doing your own kind of even it as a film subject? I think your car, that VW, you had that just in Berkeley as your car, right?
Santa Cruz in high school.
Okay. Well,
In high school.
yeah. And then so you end up doing Wild Wheels, you end up doing Automorphosis, even in, I think it's your most recent feature, Why Can't I
Be Me Around You? Yep.
Like that has this art, like, somewhat of a large art car element in it.
Yep.
As well.
Yep, you're right.
When
You're
it's really, the story is about this transgender, character in New Mexico. And then of course the Burning Man stuff I've read about, and you see little clips of that in some of those other pieces. Like you've still felt that pull for such a long period of time, and now art car world.
Right.
Like, have you sort of have you been able to find like what that is for you?
It's still the same thing as the individual spirit.
Yeah.
And I think there's just something so beautiful about sheer individuality and creativity that when it's one of a kind, it's one of a kind. And that is just, it's amazing thing. I think it's sort of the utilization of your personal gift, whatever that gift is, to the max. So it's whether it's expressing yourself on a car or in a movie or in a roadside environment or being eccentric or I just find it really interesting, and I still will gravitate towards these characters, and I am one myself. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, do you get people approaching you at this point in your life of like, oh, I'd like to have you be a character in my documentary?
I'm not getting too much of that,
Yeah.
but I am having people. Like tonight, there's people showing up that want my autograph for being in Killer Clowns.
Right. I was going to ask you about that. It's so
So
wild.
this is very weird.
Yeah.
I did that movie 1986 or whatever, and
When did you first hear that it was like becoming this whole
2010.
thing? 2010. Wow, that long.
2010 is when
Yeah.
it first started. That was when I did my first con,
Yeah.
horror con, and
That's longer than I would have guessed.
I can't even believe how.
And it's still going.
I have fans that are 5 years old, and it's like really. And supposedly they're doing a sequel.
Yeah.
Is it Ryan Gosling is working on a sequel?
I don't know.
I think. So if I get
he's going to take on your, how many clowns did you play in that movie?
7,
Yeah. So yeah, he's going to take on playing 7 clowns.
if I get cast in it,
Yeah.
I mean, it would be amazing.
That's pretty wild.
Amazing.
I mean, it's so interesting, like hearing that these things like resurface in life. I'm wondering, having your filmography go to Criterion and be available there, like what films do you find most people asking you about or asking questions about or want to know about of your work?
Oof. You know, it's so funny. I've been working so hard on my
Yeah.
father's legacy that I forget about
Right.
my own legacy. Uh, you know, I really haven't been asked that much about the art car thing, or I get asked about Burning Man a lot. Like,
Okay.
when are you gonna make this movie?
Right.
When are you know, when? And we're talking 32 years of footage. So to watch it one time would take 6 months. Seriously, one time.
And is that shot on film and
It's
video?
17 years of film, and the rest, wait, it's not 17, it's, 1993 to 2007, 14 years on 16 millimeter,
What?
Super 16,
Yeah.
and then the rest of the years on, you know, I started with,
Mini
mini DV, and then I went to 2K, 1080, 2K, 4K,
Yeah.
and I've been shooting 5K on the Panasonic EV1
Yeah.
for the last 5 years.
And so you still go every year
I
to
still
take
go,
footage?
and I'm going only for 3 days this year because I'm booked for Killer Clowns in Cleveland, which is gonna be a great horror show,
Yeah, that
horror con.
Cleveland, for whatever reason, sounds like a good
Oh my
good
god.
town for killer
Oh,
clowns.
they're gonna have Terrifier, they're gonna have, Michael Myers, the
Yeah.
original and the new actor. It's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
But, I go to Burning Man now, it's not it I don't know what's gonna happen with it, and the overall movie is a huge arc, and this is,
Yeah.
again, time.
And are cars a huge part of that, or is it more about is it more Burning Man as this bigger thing?
Burning Man is a bigger thing.
Okay.
It's more about, different facets of the event and how they evolved over the years. Art cars are just one of them.
Right.
So I'm kind of the art car guy in the movie, obviously. So I'll be a subject/narrator type person, and I'll take everyone through 32 years of this event.
Yeah.
How did it change me, and how did it change the event, and how does it change, you know, they've had so many things happen over the years at Burning Man that have made it evolve.
Yeah.
So part of it's the evolution. Time is a subject, is a character. So
Yeah, no, I think that's what I loved about, the documentary made about you was just like the span of time that it gets, is still so special when somebody can devote that and like, over that period of time.
it's a huge
Oh,
commitment.
yeah.
And most people are intimidated by time. They think they have to have it done in 3
Right.
years or 5 years, or, you know, for a film, or even faster than that for an art car or what have you. You just you can't rush these things.
Right.
Have you seen Boyhood?
Yeah.
The character, so that
I was thinking about it,
time time,
being in
and it
Texas,
makes it
in here.
so interesting that
Yeah.
you see the same actors as they age. It's amazing.
And, working, you were talking about working on Les's legacy with these films, with all of his films kind of being caught up in that, certainly in the last 10 years or longer. Like, have you found that certain of the films like speak to you more, or you find you going back or recommending certain ones differently than you would have 20 years ago?
I think right now, Chulas Fronteras
Okay.
is really resonating
Okay.
because of
I haven't seen that one. I know I saw Del Mero Corazon that Maureen
Recently.
Gosling presented. Yes,
Oh,
just
good.
recently.
good.
She presented that, and it made me want to watch Chulas Fronteras.
Chulas Fronteras is one of Les's best films.
And is that set a lot in San Antonio too?
Yeah, a
Yeah.
Tex-Mex border, and it's
Yeah.
a kind of a road trip. They went around and
Okay.
filmed, but they didn't make road trip part of the movie, but they did road trip to make it, and it features Flaco Jimenez in his heyday. It was made right after A Poem is Naked Person.
Okay.
So Les was really at the top of his game
Yeah.
in filmmaking, and Chris Strachwitz was really at the top of his game in recording these artists. So it's just a really interesting collaboration between the two men and their passions. But what it does is it celebrates Tex-Mex border culture.
Right.
It celebrates them as people.
Yeah.
And Les had a thing about honoring workers anyways. He was really into the working class and featured them in his movies. But right now, in LA
Oh yeah.
with what's going on with immigration and ICE raids and all that stuff, dude, you're messing with beautiful people.
Yeah. No, I
You're
mean, yeah.
destroying their lives,
Yeah.
their livelihood, and you're ripping them out of this country. They're not criminals. The ones you're deporting are not all criminals, and you're destroying so many people's lives. And if there's one movie we should be watching right now, it's Chulas Fronteras.
Yeah.
And I feel really, really good about having spent, these restorations take at least
Yeah.
a year of my life. And so we did that one. I Went to the Dance, Dizzy Gillespie. What's interesting about doing restoration is you're giving the film that's already been created a longer lifespan.
Yeah.
You're giving it more time. Again, time. And my commitment to Les and his legacy is to just make the films last longer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can get them to last forever because we're going to be changing. Media's changing so fast. God knows what the next format's going to be. But ideally, I'm hoping that I'll at least give them 100 years more of time of being relevant and high quality, really high quality. So we're removing the dust and the hairs in the gate, which is what Les always wanted. He hated.
Yeah, there's a hair in every. There's almost the opening shot of every film has a hair in the gate.
Guess why Les has so many hairs in the gate?
His beard.
Yes, yes, his damn beard.
Right.
When he's changing film, a hair will fall out of his beard and get in the camera roll.
Yeah.
Or in the camera, and
it's almost like a
signature
signature of, oh yeah, I'm watching.
And
I mean, it's nice because nowadays it reminds you of, I'm watching something that was shot on film. And so I think there is, certainly, going to film school and like learning to clean the gate is like, it's the worst thing that could happen. And, but now you can kind of see it as, well, it shows that it's part of this different era and something that was alive in a different way. Yeah.
What's weird is when Les was training me in filmmaking way back when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I was his assistant cameraman on Werner Herzog Eats His Shoe and subsequent films. He would get out the orange stick and he would get on me. You have to clean the gate with the orange stick every time you change the magazine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? And he says, no, it's really important. I didn't know then it was because of his beard that I had to clean the gate. His beard is the one who was dropping those hairs.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. So Harrod, I wanted to ask you, I think even from an interviewer, from my spot, it's like, how do I sort of touch, what is your relationship like being a filmmaker yourself and having, your father be this kind of huge figure in American filmmaking? Like how did that kind of affect your own work and that you've spent a lot of your time kind of preserving his work? I'm interested, of what that is.
I don't know if you're going to find too many sons that honor their father's work to the level that I am.
Yeah.
I think it's about honor, like I'm honoring his creativity and his legacy. And it feels good because I believe in what I'm doing and I believe in what he did. So sometimes I say I'm Les Blank reincarnated, or I'm still living for him.
Right.
But I'm clear that I also have my own life to live. I have my own dreams, and I can actually do both if I juggle them.
Yeah.
So, like for example, this year we released Burden of Dreams. We released Salvation Mountain, Leonard Knight, which is a 20-minute film that I just put out, which is going to show in Tallahassee Film Festival coming up. Played at Big Sky. But, I try to do something for myself, something for my father, and eventually I'll run out of my father's films.
Right.
There won't be any more.
Yeah.
But the big one, the really big one is called You Can't Squeeze Blood Out of a Turnip, about the folk artist Butch Anthony, which is Les's last movie. He started shooting in 1995. I took over in 2013.
So
and I've been filming him ever since.
Oh, and so you're still filming?
And this is another film where the subject ages 30 years.
In what part of the country?
Alabama, in
Okay.
Thiel, Alabama, and the artist goes from untrained, making folk art, visionary art, and becomes collected by galleries,
Right.
and you see his entire
Yeah.
career evolve,
Yeah.
and he became a pretty major artist.
Yeah. I haven't come across something about that. That sounds, yeah.
It's sort of like the making of an
Yeah.
artist, and so, you can't do that in, a couple years. You need that element of time.
Right.
And so I think this is it's becoming a theme of my life is everything that I do takes so long to
Yeah.
do. And when you're dealing with somebody's previous creations like Les's, he already put in the time to make the movie. Well, I'm putting in the time to restore the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm also, one of my responsibilities is to distribute the film. So I need the relationships with like Criterion Collection
Yeah.
to get the films out there bigger and so more people can see them. That's the
Yeah.
goal. You don't make a movie to put in a drawer.
Right.
You make a movie so that you inspire people and you turn people on, and it's mutually beneficial. It makes the world go round better.
Yeah.
We're more inspired.
And when your dad was kind of, teaching you about filmmaking and how to operate a camera, did you have a sense of his place in like American documentary or?
Oh yeah. By the time I was in elementary school, Les was already a pretty big
Yeah.
known independent filmmaker. And then by the time I was in high school and when I went to college, everyone knew who he was, and they had very high expectations for me to
Yeah. What was that? What was that?
succeed.
Intimidating?
It
or?
was a lot of pressure, a
Yeah.
lot of pressure. And I tried to not pay that attention, but
Did you initially try? Did you initially? Because just you do have, and you have performed, and you have kind of a performer mentality to a certain degree that you can see in your films and in the films about you. Did you think you were going to kind of go that route, or even more kind of comedy? Initially?
I did. When I was younger, I thought I was gonna be a actor, movie star.
Yeah.
Really, to be honest with you. And I did get cast in, The Falcon and the Snowman with Sean
Okay.
Penn,
Yeah.
and I had a scene with him, with the border patrol
That's the one. Yeah. In Mexico, he goes to
in Mexico City, yeah,
Yeah.
and, they cut the scene,
Oh, okay.
and that pretty much kind of dampened my acting career. I'm kind of in the middle, like, I can do both sides. I can do behind the camera, in front of the camera, and when it's in front of the camera, that whole, the idea of being present and getting a person's attention comes from my father because he was very stoic, and
Yeah.
I had to get his attention as a young kid growing up. I had to do something really wild to get
Yeah.
his attention. And so that's how I came out being a little bit wild and gregarious and wild. And then my mother, on the other hand, she was extremely gregarious and center of attention. And so I kind of grew up with that whole thing going on. But it's interesting about the esteem that you get as a child when your parents have this career. It kind of elevates you too because you're the child of these great artists or
Yeah.
whatever. And so it is interesting, but it does put a lot of expectations on
Yeah.
you as a kid and going to school, peer pressure and such. But I appreciated it. I rebelled against it a little bit when I was younger. Like I didn't want to be a filmmaker, didn't want to follow my father's footsteps. And then gradually I was like, no, this guy, he really was onto something. He knew what he was doing. It was special, and I should honor that in my own life. And as I get older, I realized, no, I'm going to honor him too, going forward.
And then was he a big, like, were you guys a cinephile family?
Oh,
Was
yeah.
watching films a big
Oh.
deal for you guys?
Big time,
Yeah.
big time. I mean, and the filmography of what we would watch was
Like, what do you remember? Like,
Kurosawa,
yeah.
all of them.
Yeah.
Frederick Wiseman, all of them. You
It's so
name
funny. Kurosawa just came up with Jason Reimer, who runs the theater, who owns a co-owner of the theater here, and that was one of his first series. And those have all been remastered by Janus and are playing next month
Ooh.
around the country.
Oh,
And so,
good.
we were just
Good.
talking some Kurosawa. So it's so interesting in like how much that still comes up for like so many generations of cinephiles.
And Herzog. I mean, we
Herzog, yeah.
watched all of Herzog's films when
Yeah.
they came out.
And was this on video? Would you go like, did
Oh
you have
no,
to be-
cinema.
Yeah,
Usually cinema. Now Les became a judge for the Academy for the documentaries. So I can't remember what year that was. It might have been 2007 or 8 or somewhere in there. And so he would have to watch all the nominated films.
Yeah.
And he took it very seriously. And we would watch films and then have dinner
And talk
and
about
talk about
Yeah.
them. And yeah, so watching films was a big part of Les's life and our life growing up. Independent films, documentaries.
What were
foreign
some
film.
of the like favorites you guys shared together?
Well, Seventh Seal was his ultimate film that he
Yeah.
loved. And he was very inspired by the Seventh Seal, Bergman's films. We used to watch the Seventh Seal almost every year
Yeah.
as projected 16 millimeter print.
Oh, he owned like
He owned it.
Oh my God.
He owned it. So he would play Seventh Seal all the time.
That's crazy.
And-
And then what were some of the ones that like you really took to a kind of on your own and felt like your own?
Well, Kurosawa's Ikuru, I really was touched.
Yeah.
I saw that one time when I was 15
Yeah.
with Les. I never forgot about it. And then when I got COVID in 2020, I thought I was going to die. I
Yeah.
really did. And so I decided to make a monument right then and there. And I'm still working on the same monument. And I will finish it by probably next March.
Yeah.
And it's a huge, huge.
No, I got to come down. I'm
Project.
from Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, really?
So not, I know Douglas got there, for high school sports is kind of what I remember going down there
Wow.
for,
Wow.
so like from the area at least. So, but yeah, and when I first heard about our car world was like, God, Douglas, I've got to get down there and see what's going on.
You got to come see it. We
Yeah,
got
so
10 rooms above the Art Car Museum.
And so is there going to be like a film aspect to it, or is it
Yep.
just going to be like physical cars? Okay.
Yep. We're
Yeah.
going to show, in fact, we're going to show Ikiru on the side of the building and have
that's
like
cool.
sushi, a Japanese night, and honor the movie. When we unveil the sculpture, we're gonna show that film, and we're gonna show Les's films and my films and other filmmakers periodically. Yeah, we're gonna be doing stuff, but it's down the road. When you want to make a museum or something like that that's really big, you have to go step by step, and you can't give up until you just keep moving, and then eventually you'll get there. But I've already been there since 2005,
Yeah.
so that's 20 years. That's a long time. And again, time is, you can't be impatient about doing big stuff. You just have to stay the course.
Yeah.
Stay the course, like a ship at sea, and you're holding on to that wheel, and you're going to go through the storms. You're going to go through wild waves. You're going to go through all kinds of problems, but you got to hold the wheel, and you just keep going, and you'll get there because you're going one direction.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Harrod, thanks so much.
Right on.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.